Black fatigue is when I can hear you 10 miles away in Walmart with your 5 Black fatigue is when you have no home training and you have no idea how to act in public. And a lot of it is culture. I've been in the hood, I've been in the schools and the projects where I was the only white girl there, and I can 100% guarantee you that it's culture. When majority of y'all know someone who has been unalived by another black person, way more than any instance of a black person being unjustifiably unalived by the police, that's black fatigue. As well as donating to Carmelo Anthony and Rodney Hinton Jr. When you aren't able to hold your own community accountable, that's a problem. We're not going to sit here and act like this is new now, because now white people are speaking out. Especially when we've been told for so long to feel sorry for our whiteness and that we have white tea privilege, whatever the that means, for something no white person alive today did and no black person alive today has experienced. There is no way that y'all thought that we would be quiet for this long. You know, having us on our knees, kissing BLM's feet, still begging for the reparations that you are not owed because you did not go through what your ancestors went through. Nobody cared about race until you started blaming white people for all of your current problems. We're just untolerating it.
Black fatigue. It's all over my FYP page. Thank you. I am so happy that this is being brought up. And oh, by the way, for us white people that have been around the block a long time, this isn't new to us. We've been dealing with this for over 40 years. Here's my story. This is about 2015. I'm at Put-in Bay. Put-in Bay's on South Bass Island in Lake Erie. There's a bunch of bars out there. It's a great place for adults to go play. Think of Pat Daly, Mad Dog Adams. If you don't know those guys, think of Jimmy Buffett. I'm sitting on a bench on Delaware waiting for my wife, who's in a shop shopping. And at the time, the traffic is two ways. And I think I witnessed why it is no longer two ways. It's a Saturday afternoon. The island is packed. The traffic is bumper to bumper. These two guys going in opposite directions decide to stop and have a chat. Not for a couple seconds, not for a couple of minutes, but I think it was around 10 minutes before people started to threaten them. But around the 5-minute mark, I'm just sitting there with my arms folded, just shaking my head. And I hear this voice. This is what's holding us back. This is why we're hated. And I turned around to see who had said it, and it was a black couple about my age. And then he looked directly at me and said, 30 years ago, I'd go down there, grab those idiots by their dreadlocks, and teach them a lesson their fathers never did. And I looked at him and went, 30 years ago, I'd have been right there with you. I have hated this type of behavior my entire life. I've never gotten it. How self-centered do you have to have no respect for any other human being? It's all about you. These are the people I've spent my life avoiding. But I had never thought about it from the black community side. And I gotta say, it sucks a lot more for you guys than it does for us white people because you're associated with it, right? There are a lot of whites that just put you all together. And it has slowed down the healing of this country. But seriously, 40 years ago, racism should have been over. Unfortunately, the Democratic Party has continued to fan the flames of racism to make money and to get votes. I'm so thankful that a lot of you are waking up to this. And again, I can't stress this enough. This isn't a black thing. This is a behavior thing. Some of my closer friends are black, and I love and appreciate them. And I'm very thankful that they have not allowed the crappy behavior out of some to drag them down. Well, I hope you're having a great day. I hope to see you tomorrow.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Thank you so much for clicking on this episode. I really do appreciate your love and support on this channel. So I'm sure most of you have come across this term, black fatigue. We are most Caucasian women, and surprised that now I've come even across men that are actually using this term to call out black people, using even the term wrongly, saying that they are tired of black fatigue. They're tired because black people are loud, ghetto, disrespectful, which is actually all a lie because they want to criminalize what black people have been going through just to justify themselves and just to justify what they do. And now they're out here happy that, you know, you thought we'll all be forever quiet about this. Now we are calling you out, and they're feeling very proud of themselves, which is quite crazy. But there is also a good number of Caucasian people that are actually calling these same people out to tell them, you know what, you're just being a racist. just admit that you don't like black people instead of trying to criminalize what black people have been going through and are still going through. I want us to watch these videos together, guys. Every clip and every stitch that you'll be seeing on our today's episode, credits belongs to the original creators of these videos that you're seeing on your screens. If you're coming across this channel for the first time, my good name is RYCIST. Kindly consider subscribing to this channel, give this video a like, and let me know what your thoughts are on the comments section. So let's just dive right ahead and we'll come back with more commentary.
Black fatigue is when I can hear you 10 aisles away in Walmart with your 5 kids. Black fatigue is when you have no home training and you have no idea how to act in public. And a lot of it is culture. I've been in the hood. I've been in the schools and the projects where I was the only white girl there.
When the weakest group of females in existence proudly expose themselves but aren't smart enough to realize it. Because imagine ending up living in the projects next to the very people that you look down on, even though you benefit more than anyone else from DEI, food stamps, and affirmative action. You have an entire system designed and rigged specifically to support your severe mediocrity and admit that you still failed. That's embarrassing.
Well, majority of y'all know someone who has been unalived by another black person. Way more than any instance of a black person being unjustifiably unalived by the police. That's black fatigue. As well as donating to Carmelo Anthony and Rodney Hinton Jr. When you aren't able to hold your own community accountable, that's a problem.
If we're being completely honest, the single solitary thing they spectacularly excel at is breeding the males who dominate every most wanted list in America. Rapists, mass shooters, PDF files, and being the very obedient doormats for these monsters they breed. God bless America. Meanwhile, black women are outpacing the superior males academically and entrepreneurially and doing it with fewer resources and none of the privilege.
And I can 100% guarantee you that it's culture.
Can you define anything about your culture outside of the extensive history of violence, control, and theft? I'll wait. I'd like to give some honorable mention of your consistent achievements, which include weaponizing your tears to end people's lives and bullying 5-year-olds and calling it patriotism. So accomplished.
A viral video of a white woman talking about black fatigue and how we don't need to give the black community reparations because we weren't around during slavery and neither were they. There were thousands of comments. This was going viral so quickly. Fully expecting to see people fighting her in the comment section. No, thousands of comments of white people, mostly. There was one Native American that was like, as a Native, thank you for saying this. I was like, what? There were so many white people in the comments saying, we're sick of this. Did they think that we were going to be silent for this long? You guys, those are war cries, if I've ever heard them. Thousands of white people in a comment section saying, did they really think we're going to be silent for this long? That's not good. And then I looked back, I saved the video. Literally, this was like 20 minutes ago. I saved the video and then I was going to reference it in this one, but it either has been taken down or she took it down herself. She deleted it. But I know that you guys have probably seen it because it had 500,000 views by the time that it was taken down. The problem is there were so many people in the comment section bold enough to say things like this. Let me say it to all the red hats out there and speak in your language. No one cares about your feelings. We need to talk about facts. And if you don't like the facts, you can go cry about it. Here are the facts. There's a thing called epigenetics. Whatever happens to your ancestors affects your mentality, your emotions, and your physical body for generations after generations after generations. It makes you ill. It makes you suffer emotional triggers that you wouldn't normally have if your ancestors did not go through those things. That is science. Now let's talk about history. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Does that ring a bell? Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you don't know what happened there and you're a red hat, let me tell you a little history lesson. The black community was crawling out of the shithole that we left them in. And they created amazing communities where everybody was working together and they had fabulous education and people had money. The United States government bombed their communities, bombed, literal bombs dropped. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That wasn't even reparations. They were doing this themselves, cultivating this themselves, trying to bring themselves up. Any community that was systematically used and abused by the rest of society needs reparations. That includes Native, don't even get me started on Native Americans. I have a whole thing that I think they deserve, which some of y'all might even think I'm crazy, but this is about the black community right now. Yes, they deserve reparations. They get the short end of the stick almost every single time. This is not just a white, blue-haired woman talking about this. These are facts. And again, facts over feelings, right? Facts over feelings. Even though I don't think this way, nobody that I know thinks this way. You guys have made it very clear in the comment section that a lot of you do. Reparations isn't going to fix everything. What we need is a systematic approach to cultivating generations of people so that they can finally get a leg up in a world that has chopped them off at the kneecaps and continues to chop them off at the kneecaps. Right now, in low-income areas, the government is not giving these counties money for their education systems. Taxes that a certain area pays, I don't know if a lot of people know this, you should, but the taxes that certain areas pay directly affects the type of schools they have. The community is underprivileged, they're going to be underserved, and it's not going to get better. That is how our system in the United States is set up, period. That right there needs to change. I don't want to hear any other white people talking about black fatigue. You think you're fatigued? And I've seen the discourse on Black TikTok with them talking about black fatigue as well. They do make some points themselves. But again, white people, those are their points to make. You keep your mouth shut. I was blown away. I knew I had to make this video because those white people are scaring me.
Black fatigue is not a term used to describe how you feel about black people because you're racist. Black fatigue was a term brought on by some people in the black community who felt tired of like the systemic racism and the microaggressions, which they happen. We see them as a society. We can't be totally clueless to it. However, little white TikTok girls and the redhead who is just incredibly ignorant, let's stop generalizing, first of all. Smart people don't generalize. And second of all, stop being so loud and so mean for no reason. Spreading hate, that's what you're doing. And I know that can't make you feel good.
But I really don't think that it's black fatigue. I think that it's ghetto fatigue, ignorance fatigue, hood fatigue. You've seen them. Bonnets and PJs, pants half off their arse. And they bring with them a certain demeanor.
We have mediocre white men fatigue, where we watch a group of talentless Nepo babies who never worked for anything in their mediocre white lives, 34-time felon, 6-time bankrupt, unqualified rapist, drive our once thriving country into shithole status in record time. We have white anti-intellectualism fatigue. You guys burn books because you can't read them. We have white fragility fatigue because the supreme majority is so weak. You feel extremely threatened by 15% of the population simply existing. We have Karen fatigue, where the weakest group of females bully 5-year-olds because you never develop mentally and emotionally past the age of 5. And it shows. Even though you designed an entire system for your success cradle to grave, you've succeeded at nothing but oppression. You have no art that you didn't steal, no culture you didn't appropriate, and no identity that isn't borrowed. And that's why you try so hard to separate yourselves from your own legacy. This is not just fatigue. This is generational, ancestral burnout from being held hostage by your mediocrity. And we're done pretending it's anything but exactly that.
Look, I know it's quite obvious to most of us that this black fatigue conversation is just racism. It's just a new word for racism, a new term for white supremacy, but they're trying to make it sound like palatable, like it's a normal thing. It's absolutely not a normal thing to be fatigued by a certain race. That's just racism. So I know this won't get to the right audience, but if you're a centrist or whatever, you're a young kid who doesn't know, this black fatigue conversation is literally just white supremacy wrapped up in a new word. It's just racism under a new word, again, to make it sound more palatable and more normal. But it is just literally white supremacy. If you listen to these videos, it's just them being racist. I'm sorry. And it also goes hand in hand with this conversation about the statue in New York. So many people are saying horrible, god-awful things about this statue. It's just racism. I'm sorry, it's just racism. So maybe you're not political or you're in the middle or whatever, and you're seeing these videos and you're like,
yeah, that makes sense. No, it fucking doesn't. Stop that shit. You're going down the alt-right pipeline. If you're seeing these black fatigue videos and you're like, yeah, that makes sense to me. No, the fuck does not. No, it doesn't. That's racism. That's just being racist. Again, it's just racism wrapped up in a box and tied with a bow. Okay? To look appealing for people. But it's the alt-right pipeline and white supremacy. If you're watching those videos and being like, yeah, that makes sense, please check yourself. And every time you see a video like that, please block them. And if you're smart and you already knew this, just block these people. Don't comment, don't engage. They're just trying to start shit. They're trying to make racism sound normal. I don't know if y'all noticed, but with Elon and everything and Twitter, white supremacy is becoming more and more normal. And that's what the term black fatigue is trying to do.
And you know what? I'm going to use the hashtag black fatigue so that the whites making that content see this video. Black fatigue already has a meaning, and it's not the one that you think it is. Black fatigue means the emotional toll, the exhaustion inherent in living under systemic racism and having to deal with that shit day in and day out and live in a society and a culture that is, the deck is stacked against you and the rules are made to discriminate against you and make your life harder. That is what that phrase means. You are co-opting that phrase and making it into something just say what you mean. All the people who really genuinely seem to believe that their First Amendment rights include the right to avoid any kind of social consequences for the things that they say and get so butthurt about their free speech. Let me tell you, they understand that they are going to have social consequences from the shit that they say. Some of them do anyway, which is why they co-opt phrases like black fatigue. This is like when a narcissist goes to therapy and learns all of the therapy language so that they can then go out and try to gaslight and abuse all of the people in their lives. If you don't like black people and you're tired of hearing about black people and hearing from black people and having black people around you or in your face or in your culture, just say that. You're using a phrase like black fatigue to try to make what you're saying sound like it is some sort of intellectual discourse that we're having. This is not intellectual discourse. This is you're a racist and a bigot. Just be a racist and a bigot. Oh, what? Are you afraid of the social consequences of that behavior? Gasp. Let me clutch my pearls.
So I've heard there's some people on here, white people, claiming to have black fatigue, which means they're tired of black people. Then this comment comes up on my friend Ricky Tikki Tavi's page, clarifying that no, it's not black people we're tired of, it's black culture. I don't know if that was supposed to make it better or worse. But since these folks claim not to be racist, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they are confusing fatigue with something else. Stick with me here. When you haven't had enough of something or you haven't been exposed to something enough, it can be overwhelming. For instance, exercising for the first time. Say your doctor says, I want you to do 30 minutes a day, at least 3 days a week, but you've never exercised. So the first day, 15 minutes in, you're exhausted, you're fatigued. Not because exercise is bad, but because you haven't had enough of it. And that's what I think's happening here. I think you haven't had enough of black people or black culture, and you're getting fatigued. You're getting overwhelmed and fatigued too soon. And how do I know this? Because I'm from Memphis. I have been immersed in black culture my entire life. The two things we're most known for in Memphis is our food and our music, both of which are entirely influenced by black people and black culture. No one comes to Memphis and says, I'm so tired of all this great food and music. No, it's not possible to be fatigued from black culture. I have had the honor of being influenced by black teachers, classmates, co-workers, colleagues, friends, and family. And you know what? After 60 years of that, you know what I'm not? Fatigued. You know what I haven't had? Enough of it. Oh, take it from somebody who's invited to the cookout. The cure for your fatigue is more exposure. You need more soul food, more soul music, more R&B, more hip hop. You need more black friends. That'll cure you.
You know, it's very crazy after I came across these videos, and I was even going through comment section, you know, when black people are actually enjoying themselves, the way they do their celebrations. Some people are quite angry about this, and they want to call this black fatigue. Even when kids are just at school graduation, they're celebrating and they are happy that they're actually graduating after all that black Americans actually faced through from their childhood, in their neighborhoods, in schools, and all the places. I would also be celebrating my progress. I would also be celebrating my graduation. But it seems some people are not happy about this, and they want to call this ghetto. Just black people being happy out there, black people being joyful out there. To them, it's ghetto, and to them, it's giving black fatigue. To them, it's very tiring seeing black people enjoying themselves. It's so crazy that people had even to go on a school graduation party video on the comments section and say, this is what black fatigue looks like. I don't even understand, like, is this ignorance, or is this hate too much till it's making some of you not to think upright? Because if you sit down and listen to some of these videos, even for the people who've done these videos calling out black people, if you sit down and listen to your video very well, I'm sure you will definitely realize that you are not making sense in anything that you were saying. When we just even listen to this video of this woman saying that black people do not require reparations, and she's like, whatever our ancestors did is not us, and you're not your ancestors. Whatever your ancestors went through is not what you're going through right now. But honestly, we all know what black community in the United States of America is going through. Systematic racism that most of you always want to justify that it does not happen, and you know, racism does not exist anymore. Always calling out black people because, you know, they want to call your people out for being a racist. For example, look at what happened. Your government could afford to bring foreigners or refugees in your country and cater everything for them. But when we look at how the system is treating black people, you still have nothing to say about that, because that is one way of how systematic racism is working in the United States of America. How white privilege is saving a lot of Caucasian people in the United States of America just because of their skin color. So we just hate black people because they are black or they are more melanated than you. So when we look at the systematic racism, like, look at the criminal justice system. Policing black Americans are disproportionately stopped, searched, arrested, and subjected to use of force. The stop and frisk policies and racial profiling contributes to over-policing in black communities. It's just the other day that even the president of the United States of America was saying that black people need more police in their neighborhoods to stop these criminals and people robbing them and people attacking them, which is on a lie, because this is just a picture that has been put there to make black people look bad, to criminalize black people, to just generalize the whole of black people. Because when he said putting police in black neighborhoods, he would have been specific which neighborhoods that he wants to put these policemen, because it's not all the neighborhoods that actually black people are experiencing crime. We look at sentencing disparities. Black individuals often receive harsher sentences than white counterparts for the same crimes. The war on drugs disproportionately targeted black neighborhoods. Incarceration rates. Black men are incarcerated at a rate more than 5 times that of Caucasian men. Let's look at education. School funding. Public schools in predominantly black areas are often receive less funding due to property tax-based funding system. And it's also just the other day the president said, you know what, if they're going to teach this history that I don't want our kids to be learning, then I'll not be funding those schools. And you all want to come out here and call out black people, saying that black people are always playing the race card just because they're calling out the system, just because they're calling out your people. It's just crazy. When we look at housing, redlining. Historically, banks and the federal government denied mortgages to black families in certain neighborhoods, limiting generational wealth building. And this is why you find most Caucasian people, they were able to build generational wealth, while black people, most black families were not able because they didn't get any help from the government. The system was just working against them in each and every way possible. Discrimination. Studies will still show that black renters and buyers face higher barriers when trying to secure housing, which is true, which we know. Even in most neighborhoods, they do exist. Even in most neighborhoods, even when people have managed to buy a house, their neighbors, they also want to discriminate these people. They also want to be racist to these people. And they be like, because you're black, you cannot afford to live here. Because you're black, you should not be living here. Healthcare. Access and quality. Black Americans often receive lower quality care and face barriers to access. Maternal mortality. Black women are nearly 3 times more likely to get unalived during childbirth than Caucasian women, which most of you, I know, because you're not black, you didn't know this. You don't know what black people are going through out there. Just for you to come and, just because you don't like them, just because you don't even want to bother of what the black community is facing in the United States of America, you want to come out here and say that you're tired of black fatigue, not even knowing what's the meaning of black fatigue to start with. Because you are using the term wrongly, and you want to come and justify your actions out here. You want to come and say what your ancestors did should not be upon you. But your community is still doing the same. You're still seeing people doing the same things that your ancestors were doing, and you just want to keep quiet about it. Employment and income. Hiring discrimination. Studies shows that, e.g. resume experiments, show that applicants with black-sounding names receive fewer callbacks than white-sounding names with identical qualifications. And you just want to come here and you all want to say you're tired of black fatigue. Black people are tired of black fatigue. Black people are tired of this system always working against them. Black people are tired of such people that are saying that they do not deserve reparations. Black people are tired of you always finding something to say about them. Black people are tired of you trying to criminalize everything that's about them. You all are very loud and very angry about DEI, affirmative action. So while Caucasian women are the #1 beneficiaries of all these things that have been put there to help black people, to support the black community in the United States of America. I don't know what's going through such people's mind. And even the man that was saying that some of his closest friends are actually black Americans, it's just crazy, because I don't understand as a black person how you're gonna be friends with such a person who has such a mentality about your community. Just because black people want to stand for their rights, just because black people want to stand against racism, you all want to call them ghetto, you all want to call them loud, you all want to call them disrespectful. It's just crazy, because the time or the number of times that I've seen ghetto Karens, the number of times I've seen loud Karens at airports, restaurants, parking lots, even at parks, coming for kids just because of their skin color. It's crazy because most of you don't have the audacity to come and discuss about this. Most of you don't have audacity to stand against racism. Most of you don't have the audacity to come and call out your own people. Most of you will just sit there and be quiet about it and play along as someone is insulting a child, as someone is being racist towards a black person, just because you don't like them. And you have nothing to say about this. You don't even think you can get some few minutes of your time to create videos and create such awareness on TikTok. But when it is about black Americans, of course you want to come here on TikTok and talk down on black people and call them names and say how you're tired of black people always complaining, and say how you're tired of black people being ghetto. If you don't like black people, then just keep off black people. Stop I mean, some of you don't even live in the same neighborhoods with black people, but you always talking about black people. Some of you don't even have black friends, but you're always talking about black people. You always have something to say about black Americans in the United States of America, which is quite crazy, guys. And I'm grateful to these women who are actually trying to call these people out, because they need to be called out for what they are, for how racist they are, because that is what they are. Let me know what your thoughts are, guys, on the comment section. Thank you so much for watching up to this part, and until the next episode, bye.